what's up? Um, so UFC Garcia and Obama just went down on Saturday night, and we're going to react to the fights that happened Saturday night, and we are going to match the winners with possible contenders. And some weird shit happened this card that was going like all weird. My picks are pretty good overall, but let's just start this. For the first fight, Talita Alencar versus Ariana Canalesi. Sorry, you know, Talita was basically she was struggling in the striking a little bit with Ariana, but she was still keeping there. She was getting it down nice. Like a lot of the time she was getting close to her submissions, and she looked alright, but she did struggle in the striking. For Toledo Alencar, I think she could do a little better in the future. She would learn from this. And she did end up getting the submission, which was very impressive. She was on her way to winning the fight. Toledo Alencar, she's looked impressive in the last few fights. So for her, I don't think she should be going in the rankings yet. I do think. Shit, here we go. I do think she needs one more fight before maybe fighting a top 15 fighter. And I'd probably honestly give it Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes hasn't done too bad in her last two fights. Or maybe even a. Who else? This kind of sucks. Or maybe, if we were going to give her a ranked fighter, we could Polyana Viana. I'm pretty sure she lost her last fight to Jacqueline Amorim. There you go. And Polyana needs to step down and, and, shit. Hold on. Step up. So, yeah, I think that's a good matchup for Toledo. For the next fight, this is crazy, man, because it was going to be like this much of a. My fucking computer's stepping up. Oh my god. Oh, because went right on Phil Rowe. Hold on. But yeah, I didn't think this fight was going to be so far in between. So Phil Rowe versus Sang Yong Ko. If you didn't watch this fight, basically Sang Yong Ko, as soon as he got the takedown, he held Phil Rowe there. He was landing strike. He was landing nasty ground and pound. He just controlled the whole fight. That was the story of the fight. It wasn't just like being a wet blanket. He was doing damage. He was doing the right thing. Of the rounds, I do feel bad for her because I as a fighter and as a person, but this it wasn't a real good look for him. So, Phil Rowe is a named fighter division, but for Sang Yong Ko, I'd really like to see him with one more welterweight win. So for that, we're probably gonna, we're gonna have to go obviously welterweight. There's so many unranked welterweight contenders, man, and I'm dead honest. Like welterweight's fucking stacked. We've got Randy Brown, we've got fucking Muslim Silikov, who's ranked by the way. Crazy shit, eh? We've got Murray Oliver, who's coming up. Stephen Thompson. We've got Kelvin Gallums. So many people in this division. So I think for KO's next fight, I think I'd like to see him have one more fight before we see him fight maybe someone in the rankings. I think maybe like a Gunnar Nelson, like another grappler sort of fighter, or who else? I was gonna say Neil Magny, but I think Neil Magny should honestly be going into the rankings. or even a maybe Michael Chiesa. Like as much as I like Michael Chiesa, he's been given his last few. He's on a 35 win streak. But yeah, man, I really like saying KO, and I'm gonna honestly I am match Phil Rowe because I do like Phil Rowe a lot. I don't think they should cut him yet. So I think they should match him up with someone who just like lost on this card, ironically, and I would be matched up with where is he? Themba Garimbo. I don't rate Themba. He's by losing streak. He lost a very fight to Jeremiah Wells. I think that's a great matchup for the both of them. I'm not gonna say they're fighting like Phil Rose or Themba's fighting to get. Themba has to go down, and I know Phil Rose is supposed to go down, but I think they're in like similar, very similar territory. So yeah, that's. I think that's what you got to do, man. I did see not KO, doesn't matter. Ali Salad Adeline versus Ruiz. This was a dog fight, man. This was a fucking fun fight. MMA. These two women, they fucking kept on striking, kept on fighting, they kept on going. It was watch. Very low like rated women. I think she's different cut. She's on a 4 fight losing streak, 3 finishes. But for Alisa Delina, I honestly don't know what we give her because yeah, she's a 2 win streak, but how impressive is it against two absolute fucking nobody in the division? So we could match her up. I don't think she should be getting too much of a step up. I could honestly see them giving them a loser of the card, Ariana Carlosi. Like Ariana Carlosi isn't that bad, but she ain't that good either. There's a few people on this Vanessa Demopoulos, but I think she's got a fight too. There's a few fighters I could see him just feeding to the wolves. But yeah, I don't think she should be getting too much of a step up. So yeah, I think Toledo, not Toledo. Yeah, I don't think she should be getting I think she should mostly be getting someone very unranked. I think that's how it should be. It was fun, but yeah, it wasn't that significant. For the next fight, I'm gonna be purely honest. I thought this was a total robbery because as much as Caitlin Vieira was just hugging her on the ground, I didn't think Ramon did enough in the fight to win it. Like she had striking, she was landing on, she was trying to do a bit of ground and pound. Norma Dumont was trying to hold with the hands and stuff, and with 10 minutes of control time, really, you just can't be given a fight to the other person that's not doing it at all. Like she's not even doing anything either. Caitlin Vieira was still doing stuff while she was on the feet. This isn't like a Volkov versus Almeida situation where yeah, that was a robbery. I actually agree with the robbery because of the damage. But obviously, I think Norma's obviously. If my computer loads, if my computer loads, holy, it's amazing how much my computer doesn't work. I don't know how to edit either. Hold on. Just. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, I'll just keep talking. Okay, we're back. So, obviously, Norma Dumont, she's getting the next title shot. It'll be Amanda Nunes versus Caitlin Harrison, and I just yeah, I thought it was pretty weak. Caitlin Vera, I'm gonna match her, even though she lost on the card. I am gonna match some of the losers that I think should be matched up next. Well, she's what, number four, so she just lost like what, one or two spots. There's a few fighters on here. I think she should fight Irene Aldana. That'd be a real good fight. Irene Aldana hasn't fought in a while. She lost to Norma as well. And if Irene Aldana wins the fight, she's back in title contention. If Caitlin Vieira wins, she gets to fight back as well. But yeah, I think that's a good fight. The hell? Ah, okay. So yeah, that's what we should do for Caitlin Vieira, and for Norma Dumont, she's obviously going to get the next title shot. Yeah. Fighting, man. The next fight. Okay, good. The next fight is Dante Johnson versus Tariq Dumas, which I'm gonna be honest, it was a very suspect fight in its own right. Like Dante Johnson, yeah, it's exactly what I expected. I expected him to dominate Tariq Dumas. I expected a knockout though, but yeah, man, I like Tariq. Just he went out there, he got him down, but just he kind of quit in that second round. He just got in there, took that check, and I think he just quit, and I'm not gonna match up. I think he's gonna get cut from the UFC. I think he's gonna be out of the UFC, and I think it's gonna be, you know, go back to prison, mate. See you later. And for Dante Johnson, it was a real impressive win. I think Dante Johnson, if we can get it up, interesting fights at middleweight for Dante. Like, obviously, we're not going to give him anyone too high. Michael Olachechek, he's coming off an impressive win over Gerald Meerschaert. We could give him, I was going to say Zhang Yang, but Chris Curtis would be an awesome fight, but he's ranked in the middleweight division. So we're not going to do that. I think, and this might be, I think a Marc-Andre Barriault would be a fucking awesome fight. He just lost against Shara. I know it's been like 4 or 5 months. I think he wants to get back in there. I'd love to see that fight. It'd be two power strikers. If Dante wins that fight, he's going up he's coming up the middleweight rankings, and if Marc-Andre Barriault somehow gets Dante Johnson out of there, Marc-Andre Barriault gets to come back up the rankings. Or I could see him fight someone like a Reese, but I think honestly Marc-Andre Barriault is such a better fight. So yeah, man, I do like this that fight for him. Tariq, I see you later, bro. See you on the regional. Next fight is Cucumber, Tibi Cucumber. He surprised me, man. He really did. Like, Shanghai Lee had back the whole first round. Then he came back, grappled with him. He didn't get his strikes off, but he was. Oh, sorry. And he grappled with him and was on top the whole time. He was striking down. He was doing damage, and I think Shanghai Lee just gassed himself out in the whole fight. And for honestly, Timmy Cucumber, man, he fucking really impressed me. I think he's coming back. He's coming with a second wind, and yeah, he looks really good in this fight. Where Shanghai Lee, I think it's just the inexperience for him. I think he really, I think he really needed to. I don't know. I think he just needed to he did burn himself out. I think that's what the main factor was. So for Timmy Cucumber, I don't think we're gonna, go too far up the rankings, but I would like to fight a striker instead of another grappler because he's been getting a few grapplers lately. Bantamweight's massive, man. For some reason, my computer's glitching out again. How embarrassing. Yeah, okay. So bantamweight's crazy. Like, there's so many people in bantamweight we match him up with. You know, heaps of people. But for Timmy Cucumber, we're not gonna put him too far up the list. I think we have to go. Man, look how stacked bantamweight is, man. It's so hard because there's so many people. Like, there's so many people fighting on road to UFC and tough. For Timmy Cucumber, I could see him. Fuck it. I think I like a fight with Li Lang. He just got a nice knockout. Wait, that's not the guy I'm thinking of. Sorry, hold on. The hell? I thought I just saw Ricci Lang. It's a Ricci Lang, isn't it? It's like a single. Because I saw Cody Gibson. Yeah, Arichi Lang. I do like that fight. I can find him, which I can't find him for some reason. He might be at the top because. Anyway, doesn't matter. A fight with a Arichi Lang. Find him. He just knocked out Cody Gibson in under 20 seconds, which is fucking crazy. There he is, and he's just he's super impressive. Not Arichi Lang. I'm impressed with Cucumber. He done real well in that fight. I think it's a very even fight. They're both on 2 fight skids. Yeah, man, I think that's a really good fight. And if we want to go for a different fight, we could do. Yeah, I think I just like that honestly. With I do like a Lucci Lang. I think that's a very even matchup for the both of them. If Ricci Lang gets another knockout or possibly just gets a good decision over Cucumber, that looks impressive. Cucumber beats Ricci Lang. That's impressive too. They're both on 3 fights win streaks. Whoever wins. So yeah. And for Chang, Chang Ali, I think we have to give him that just a little bit of a step down. Obviously, he just lost. There's honestly a couple names I do like for him. So first of all, we could do, we could put Garrett Armfield. He hasn't fought in a while. He lost to Sergey City, if I'm not wrong. Or another one, which, he's a bit of a grappler. He has some real awkward striking. I like Colby Thickness. Now, a lot of people shat on Colby for his last fight with Jasias Misias. I think Colby Thickness admitted that was not his best performance. I think Colby will come back with a better mindset, and it's two grapplers going against each other, so that would be very interesting. So yeah, it'd be good to see, and I'll be a little bit biased because I actually know Colby personally, but yeah, I think those are 2 fights that I could see given to him. So yeah, let's book it, and I do like that. The next fight, I can't believe I chose Kevin Christian, bro, because I was very confident that Kevin Christian might pull off some wacky stuff, but I didn't, and I gotta apologize. I didn't realize you rolled like that. So Billy Gallicana, he didn't look super impressive in his performance. I think like it. He was kind of just standing there, just pitter pattering. Christian was trying to back, and I think Billy O'Kenna was like, right, let's get this over with. Something switched in his brain. He dropped, then got the rear naked, and then Kevin Christian weirdly just fucking like tapped the ground. Why wouldn't you tap your opponent? It was very good on Billy O'Kenna. If we want to match him up, I could honestly. There's a few fights we could match him up with. Light heavyweight's way better nowadays, I reckon. So for Billy O'Kenna, he's on a 2-fight win streak. If we could do this with another Australian, I don't think we go with a step down. I think we go like not contender, but like a not hard to say. I think we'd get him versus Jimmy Crute. What? Wait, is Jimmy Crute ranked? No, I don't think. Oh, peak. I was like gonna say, I was like, I swear Crute isn't ranked. Yeah. Anyway, I think Jimmy Crute's a good fight. They both are coming off a submission. They're both 2-fight win streak. They both beat Urbo Iceland. I think that's a good fight. I think that's a great by me. And if Jimmy Crute ain't ready to do it, or if something else isn't happening, I guess we could do light heavyweight. For like the unranked light heavyweights is not fucking like, it's not many good unranked heavyweights, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. We could do an Omar C, who's an up and comer as a Frenchman. He lost to Alonzo Menifield. He needs a step down. He did knock out Brendan Ribeiro. We all know Brendan Ribeiro ain't that good, so like, we could actually see how good Elikano is, and if Elikano gets another sub or even a knockout over Omar, really impressive. We could be talking about a top 15 fight, maybe against even like a top 15 guy. But yeah, I think an OMC or even a Jimmy Crute would be a good fight for. I think that's a good step up for him, and yeah. So yeah, I think that's good fights for Elikana. The next fight, shit. Okay, we're on to the main. Nascimento and Cody Durden. Like I said, Cody Durden sucks, but he give credit when credit's due. Cody Durden was piecing up Alan Nascimento this whole fight, and then as the fight went on, Cody Durden he really started gassing out. He really started like slowing down. Alan Nascimento started taking over the fight. He got Cody Durden down, and he got a submission. And like I said, I don't rate Cody Durden. I never rate him as a top 15 fighter. He loses on a constant basis, and I'm very surprised Joshua Van never finished, because Alan Cemento's up in the years, and I can't see him becoming like a top 50, like a past a top 15 contender. I do see, he's one of these old heads of the sport. But yeah, he was super impressive that night. There was holes in his game, in his striking, but I think we do have to give Alan Nascimento a step ups, like a decent step up. So for Alan Nascimento, excuse me, I think we really do have to consider something. Bantamweights, it's a catch weight. So yeah, I think we do have to basically either 15 or even like just under the top 15. So for Alan Nascimento, we could do, if we wanted to give him a ranked fight, we could give him a Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson just lost to David Figueiredo. Montel Jackson didn't look very impressive in that fight. I think, there was just some underwhelming stuff, and I think Montel Jackson needs a step down. He did try to hit up, he failed in the step up. And or we could do, if we don't want Nascimento, to fight up yet too much. We could do Jacob Whiplatz. He's a heavy grappler. He just out grappled Patchy Mix, which I thought Patchy Mix won that fight. But at the same time, Patchy Mix looks fucking terrible in the UFC. So if we want to, you know, if we want to do Jacob Whitlax versus Nascimento, the winner gets a ranked opponent. Or if we do want to give Nascimento a ranked opponent, if he beats Montel Jackson, he's in the top 15 rankings, and then we can talk about a top 10 rankings fight. But yeah, man, good win for Nascimento. And, you know, I do usually talk about people like Durden, but I think Durden's getting cut from the brutally honest, he is getting cut from the UFC after what fucking 5 finishes. Like he's 1 for 6. So yeah, I think Cody Durden's getting cut. Good win for Alan Nascimento. The next fight, man, I just I think I go retarded, man, because some did choose Charles Radke initially on the stream. Honest to God, I'm dumb. Like I should on the YouTube channel. I was like, you know, on the last video, I was like, you know what? I think Daniel Franzo can. He's on 100 shit, and he just got dominated. He is the worst middleweight, welterweight. He's the worst welterweight division. He hasn't looked impressive, and I've got to give more credit to Charles Radke. He just did his thing, outstruck him, like beat the shit out of him, and got the submission. So yeah, I think cut Daniel Franzo. He just has he showed nothing. Like there's been absolutely nothing. Radke, you know, there's a couple fights in welterweight, and you know, welterweight. I think we it's real hard, man, because there's a lot of got people at welterweight. I could see, I could see them giving Charles Radke to Kelvin Gastelum. I think it's an even fight. Kelvin Gastelum's looked fucking. He just looks so average. He's looking terrible, and I think that's a good step up. Like if Kelvin Gastelum needs one more win to get into the rankings, and I think Radke needs a big name to get him into a basic spot. I think that's a really good fight for the both of them. And if we want to do another fight, I guess we could do maybe. There's not really many fights. We could do a Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson, he's got 2 knockouts now, and he's been looking really good, man. Like, Charles Radke's got 2 finishes. Sam Patterson's got 2 finishes. I think we could do that. And you know, like whatever contender, you know, for Sam Patterson, I really wanted to see him like fight a Ken Holland, but I could see him fight Charles Radke. So yeah, good win for Charles Radke. I'd like to see him fight Kelvin Gastelum or Sam Patterson, you know, and that'd be good to watch. Alright, the next fight. So I've got to talk about this fight real quick. This fight has been flagged for possible like betting, like there's been fight fixing allegations on this fight because the way Dalgarian has his last fight, Isaac Dalgarian usually is a really good fighter, but the way he fought in this fight, he fought very strange. You know, he went for a takedown, he got stuffed, and I thought it was gonna be. Now, don't get me wrong, I did choose Yader Davali, and the way he was fighting off hands with a rear naked was super strange, and that's why there's also multiple reasons. For one, Isaac Dalgarian was trained under James Krause. James Krause is the main reason why this shit happened. The FBI. So here's the quick briefing. Basically, what has happened? Flagged the UFC and said, "Hey, there's some weird, strange betting because Yader Davali, which I said was a crazy, I thought that was crazy odds for him. He went from $3 to $1.90 within hours, and that is very strange. And that was for Isaac Delgarian to for a first round knockout. And I thought this, and they thought that was strange, so they warned the UFC. Isaac Delgarian might have been doing some fight fixing for him to lose the fight. I think he's just been removed from the roster. It could be bullshit. I think, honest to God, I think like there's been some crazy fight fixing in this fight because of the way he was defending a choke was very strange. But it's a shame for Yadi Davali because he looked really good in this fight, and I do think he was going to win this fight regardless. But yeah, man, it looks like up the next dude he's got to be in prison with, and for Deval fight it's sad, man, because it fucking sucks when you think I won against a very tough guy. The way featherweight's pretty stacked. What the hell? Why has it got Ilya Tapori at the top? Why has it got... Anyway. What? Anyway. So, out of all the unranked fights, we can't give him a crazy... Oh, because he has 4-1, so... He's on 2 wins, 2 finishes. Decision? Finish. I'm dumb. I'd like to see him fight... Wait, Duho Choi? Yeah. I'd like to fight a Duho Choi. Duho Choi's been pretty impressive. He's just come off a win with... That's not the same guy I'm thinking of. Isn't it? Ah, it is. It's just Duho Choi hasn't fought in a while, which kind of sucks. Otherwise, I would be confident in this fight. I want to do fights that, are likely to happen. I'd like to see him fight one more time. I'd like to see him fight maybe Julian Erosa. A super close fight with Melkazi Costa. It's an up and comer. If Julian Erosa him out of there with Julian Erosa fighting on the bottom, just at the bottom of the top 15, or he could fight a John Anderson Burrito. He just lost to Pat Sabatini. He could get a comeback. Not comeback. He could come back and get a win over Deval. And if Deval beats Burrito, Burrito's a legit fighter. So yeah, man, fuck. This is it's a tough division because I could see him fighting any of these names, but I'd like to see him fight probably just Edison Burrito because, yeah, man, that'd be a sick fight. Okay, for the next fight, bruh, come on, this sucks. I said this before. This card sucks, dog shit. Let's get onto it. Which it doesn't. So, God. Themba Gorimbo versus Jeremiah Wells. This was such an underwhelming fight. Themba Gorimbo made all the wrong decisions in the fight. Basically, just the way he was doing takedowns and the way he was fucking fighting and not getting off his back, and Jeremiah Wells just going to a very boring Phil Rowe. I think that's an honest to God, I think that's a good matchup, man, because I think that they're both in similar spots in their career. I know Themba's only on a 2-fight winning streak, so a losing streak, so is Phil Rowe though. So I think they're very similar fighters. I think they're going to be in very similar spots. And for Jeremiah Wells, I don't know what we do with Jeremiah Wells because I don't really rate him as a fighter either. I did see a few people call him out in the welterweight division. I did see what's his name? Jonathan McAuliffe call him out for Sydney. Yeah, I think that does make sense. If I can, okay, let's friggin' what's the name? He fought Kevin Josette, which was I thought was weird. Like there he is, 26. Yeah, he had a really impressive win over Kevin Josette. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's like going up a little bit, and yeah, it's really impressive. I think that would honestly be a good fight. I think Jonathan McCaleb gets it because I think I rate McCaleb a bit better. But we could do an Oban Elliott versus a. I go so retarded. But Jeremiah Wells, I think we could do a Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott just lost to Hang. I think Hang Sunko is going to be fighting a bit more upwards up the rankings, and I think Oban Elliott needs to fight someone towards his level, which Jeremiah Wells I guess is now. So yeah, I think you would probably the Oban Elliott or Jonathan McCaleb. I think you book that fight. I think that's yeah. I think that's what you give to Jeremiah Wells, and let's see where like he is at his career. But Jeremiah Wells is what 39. So yeah, I don't think his career is going to be that much longer. But yeah, on to the next fight. Good on Jeremiah Wells for the next fight, the true main event. So another weird thing in the fight. So the fight starts out pretty fun, like these they fucking swanging and banging like these two, man, and my computer obviously. It was really impressive. It was real interesting. Like they were swinging and banging. And a flurry, basically anti-Delesia pokes in the eye. Costa because he gets poked in the fucking eye. You got to remember this is a Tom Aspinall teammate, so it's very ironic. And I'll, Mark Goddard, Mark Smith, like says, "Hold up." Anti-Delesia thinks he cancels the fight, but like he waves off the fight. He won. Just call like stopping the fight to check the eye poke, which Waldo Cortez Acosta obviously was affected by. He gets really about it. So he goes back to fight. He takes I think 2 minutes, and then goes back to fight, gets a crazy overhand right, and then finishes anti. He's fucking still in pain. Man, Waldo Cortez Acosta is one of my he has to be my favorite heavyweight at the moment. Like one of my favorite heavyweights. He is my favorite heavyweight. I did really like what I saw. I want to see that from Cortez Acosta, man, because that was impressive. I wish I saw that more in the Sergey Pavlovich fight. Not Pavlovich. Uh, you know what I'm fucking saying. I think because he just lost at the same time, but he just kind of come up. So for Walter Cortez Acosta, we're gonna go up, but we can't go up too much. I think we do a number one contender fight, and I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, you get Volkov." I don't think they're gonna do that. I think we do Walter Cortez Acosta versus Jailton Almeida. I can't really see Jailton. I can see him try and lay there. I think we do a main event with these two or a co-main in a major pay-per-view. I think I don't think Jailton's gonna be able to take him like down as easy as he has with Alexander Volkov. And Alexander Volkov is just so big. But if we don't do Jailton, I guess we do Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades has been at the top of the division for so long. And I think Cortez Acosta does beat Curtis Blades. So yeah, I guess we could do a Curtis Blades or Jailton Almeida. Um, but yeah, I'd really like to see Walter Costa in a number one contender fight, and I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, if he beats any of these two, that's not really number one contender." Then who else is there? Because yeah, Tom's already beaten fucking Tom's beaten everyone, basically. And, yeah, I think I want to see Waldo Cortez Acosta fight Tom. That'd be a fight. And for Anti Deleja, he has to fight down. I'd love to see him fight Riz Kuniev. He had a super close fight with Curtis Blades. I think he could have won that, but I did see a world where I did see why it went to Curtis Blades. That was super close. I know a lot of people are saying he shouldn't get another ranked spot, but I don't know, man. He looks super impressive. I think, like, if the league knocks out or even, like, just beats Rizniev by decision, then he goes back up the rankings or he fights someone at his middle level. But yeah, for Anti-Deleja, I really like that. And yeah, so onto the main for the main event, and I guess this perfectly, man. I was like, I don't know why David Onama's getting such a placement, and like you could have done Steve Garcia and anyone else, like in the top 10, and that would have been a fucking so average. And I said I could see a second or third round KO, or even a first round. I was fucking correct. I just saw Steve Garcia winning this fight. I saw him fucking dominating, and David Onama did nothing, man. I was in the fucking corner going, yeah, yeah, you did it. You're doing good, man. While he's getting pieced up on the feet. David Onama had no business being there with Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia just played his game and knocked him down. I hated his call. I hated Garcia's call out there after an awesome Max Holloway BMF belt. That ain't happening, buddy. I'm not a big enough name for that. But we are gonna match you up. We are gonna put you with someone in the top 10. We ain't gonna fucking make you wait anymore. We are gonna do this. So, for a top 10 matchup, there's been a few names like thrown around. I liked a few of them, right? And I think there are two names that have come across in my mind. I was gonna originally say Arnold Allen but I don't know where the fuck Arnold Allen is. He hasn't fought since 2024, and you know that's whatever. But there's a guy been shit. That's kind of fuck. That kind of fucked my idea up. I was gonna say Jordan Silva because that would be such a fun fucking fight. Steve Garcia versus Jordan Silva. I thought Jordan Silva was like number 8, but obviously, what the hell? Eamon Harvey number 7. Yeah, they have fucked these rankings. I'm just gonna assume that or no, I thought he was number 9, number 8, and I hope he is. Oh, Steve Garcia's gone up 8 spots. Okay, that's. I guess he can't down. So we're gonna have to redo it. So, I think Steve Garcia should fight. I think he should fight. What's his name? Where is he? Yusuf Saleh. I know a lot of people have been saying, "Well, why should he fight him?" Yusuf Saleh and Steve Garcia are two big up and comers, and I think they need to fight each other to determine who's going to be in that top 5 spot to fight for a top 5 placing, who's fight for a contender spot, because all these names are number 1 contenders. And another fight for him is Aljamain Sterling, a former champion, a guy who's a heavy grappler, who's going to bring it to him, and who hasn't got half bad striking. And if he could knock out Aljamain Sterling or even knock out Yusuf Zalal, that puts him at a top spot. Puts him one off the title. I don't think he's fighting Volk. I think Volk's going to retire in Sydney, win, lose or draw. I'd be very surprised if Volk doesn't retire. But yeah, I think that'd be great for Steve Garcia, and for David Onama, he has to go down obviously. And for David Onama, I think there's really only like 2 fights you can give him, and that is Mikazel Costa. He had a super impressive and awesome fight with Julian Erosa. I think he needs to be like shot into like a top 15 ranking, and we could give him David Obama. I think that's a good fight. I think it makes sense. I think he's going to bring the fight to him. Or we could do Pat Sabatini, who had, oh, it's not Pat Sabatini, Nathaniel Wood, who had, it might have been a robbery win, but still a win overall over a super impressive guy in Jose Delgado. And I think Nathaniel Wood needs a fight. So I think we give him David Obama. And yeah, I think these two guys should honestly be fighting for a ranking. And yeah, man. Look, this fight night, I didn't really rate it. I rated it a 4.5. I got, excuse me, bit of a heart thing. So I'll just say how many picks. I got Steve Garcia, so that's one. Walter Cortez Acosta, that's two. I got, didn't get one. Yadi Deval, that's what, one, two, three, four. So one. I actually lost a lot. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 9 for 12. That's not a bad night. That is not a bad night, man. Because I did choose a few goofy ones. I thought maybe there'd be an upset or two, and there was, and yeah, I was like, so what? No, 8. I went 8 for 12, which is not too bad of a night. I think that's a pretty good night. Not bad for a first time back. And I did do a multi. I could do a video like sports betting and multis and stuff. But yeah, just how the video went. I'm gonna upload another one. I'm gonna upload the Randy Brown versus, I don't know what the next fight night is. That's terrible, but it's fucking terrible fight night. Yeah, man. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you subscribe. And see you later.